turn your back and lock the door. Missionary, missionary, don't leave us all alone. Save the soul of all your white man, we've a God of our own.
August 27, 1974. Hi. Thought I would drop you a line to let you know what I am doing. I am working at the legal office right now, answering phones and doing whatever needs to be done. It is very exciting and I really enjoy doing it. And I get to know just what is going on and where. The trials are going very well considering the charges that the men had against them.
She just came here to help out with the school, to see what she could do to work in the classrooms, help out with the kids, and she was a really good person. Like I told you, she knew a lot about traditional ways, especially for women, you know. She could teach those things, and she came here to help out as much as she could with the kids here. She'd tell the kids stories and everyone would listen. She was real soft inside, you know, her heart was soft. She'd really touch the kids, you know, talk to them, and she'd, you know, brush their hair or whatever when she was talking to them. She was the mother type of woman.
I sure miss my whole family. It has been so long since I have been able to spend any time with any of you. And of course my girls, I don't call or write to them very much because I know that Jake has been telling them how no good I am. He took them away because I went to Wounded Knee. He turned out to be such a sellout. He could never see beyond his nose.
One of her goals was to get her children back. And she told me that she knew that even though the state had taken her children and she did not have access to them now, that through her involvement in the struggle, that she could maybe do the most good for her children. Maybe this was the way that she could do good for them more than if she had them with her. And that this was her way, that's why she believed very much in the struggle, that the things had to be made better for the children.
Violence on the Pine Ridge continued even after Wounded Knee. There was a lot of hostility and distrust between the tribal chairman and the traditional people. The government continued to support the tribal chairman, even when its goon squad terrorized the people. There were many murders and near murders.
And about noon, my mother invited us all over to her house for dinner. So we went all over there, and there was about 15 people at the house, including children. And a car came to the house, and a police car, a Bureau of Indian Affairs police car, came there with it. And the other car was driven by an off-duty BIA policeman.
Well, I had dinner cooked and pot of soup on. I was baking bread. And I had one pan in, and I had my other bread over here, and I turned around to facing the cupboard to get my other pan to put in the oven, and as I walked up facing this cupboard, bullets just started flying. One of the police officers told me that there was over 24 bullets, and out of 11 people here, 5 of us got hit. My grandson was hit on his left arm and on his left thumb. And even as just Trudell was shooting, Joe was at the door and he held the door open and this one ran in. I don't know how in the world she missed getting hit. Even the FBI couldn't understand how I ran through this living room door and just got hit once.
And at Mom and Sister's, like, then we hid behind it.
We squatted on the floor. And Deb and John came in there. Ooh, his arm was all bloody, and Dutch was all bloody. Ooh.
That day when we were at the hospital, the PHS hospital in Pine Ridge, some more off-duty policemen that worked for Dick Wilson, you know, they ran toward us. And they threatened us, and they said, well, that's what you AIM son of a bitches deserve, And there was a 3-year-old little boy laying there half-assed bleeding to death,
And for 2 or 3 months after that, we had to sleep on the floor. I was so scared, and the kids were too. We put the mattresses on the floor at night. I was just so scared.
What is the function of the Internal Security Branch of the FBI?
The FBI does not have an internal security branch. We formerly had a domestic intelligence division, which has been reorganized. That division encompassed a wide range of intelligence activities, including foreign and counterintelligence activities. We currently have a domestic security and terrorism section of our general criminal division.
Is the American Indian Movement considered to be a terrorist organization?
In regard to acknowledging investigations of domestic groups, the guidelines preclude, and Attorney General's instructions preclude, either confirming or denying investigations of such groups.
The more you investigate the FBI, the more you realize that almost all of their resources are put towards political work, and almost nothing is done in terms of criminal activities. These AIM programs are part of what was then called the Domestic Intelligence Division of the FBI, which within that division are internal security branches, and within those branches are sections such as Section 157, which is Indians, Black, and Spanish surname programs, Section 170, which are the snitches and provocateurs that are put into the 157 programs to destroy political and spiritual movements of Indian people. After these sections were exposed, and as a lot of the illegalities of the FBI have been exposed in the last few years, they've changed some of the names of the programs around, and they've changed some of the numbers around, and they've tried to hide these activities within the false front of doing criminal work. And to label political work as criminal gives the FBI carte blanche to do anything they want against people.
Is there a section in the Domestic Intelligence Division specifically concerned with Native Americans?
Not to my knowledge, no.
What is the FBI's function on the Pine Ridge?
The FBI does not have a law enforcement function insofar as patrol or what you would normally associate with local police. Our function is the same as would occur in a major city or a small town in the United States. We are pretty much after-the-fact investigators.
Worst outbreak of violence in reservation since the 71-day siege at Wounded 2 years ago. Yesterday's incident took place some 10 miles away, south of approached a house just before noon with the intention of serving arrest warrants for assault. Suddenly, gunfire burst out of the house and nearby bunkers, apparently automatic weapons. 2 agents were killed, identified as Jack Kohler, 28, of Colorado Springs, and Ronald Williams, also 28, of Glendale, California. Police sources said the agents may have survived the initial gunfire, only to be executed later. Police and FBI agents sealed off the area. Throughout the day, special assault squads of FBI men were flown in to assist in the effort to take the house and the unknown number of Indians inside. Then last night there was another heavy exchange of fire. 1 Indian was shot dead. The rest of the Indians escaped. It was at this point that the bodies of the 2 agents were recovered. This morning, hundreds of FBI agents and state and local police have begun the search for the killers.
I wasn't in Oglala the day of the firefight, but it happened on the Jumping Bull property, where an encampment of Indian men and women were living in the traditional way. The 2 FBI agents, who were serving a warrant for stealing a pair of cowboy boots, came in shooting. Cecilia Jumping Bull was in town. When she returned home, her place was swarming with FBI's and marshals.
Machine gun FBI's and the marshals and had machine guns. Their house was all shut up and had bullet holes in it. She asked him what happened in here. He said, "Don't you know what happened here? They killed 2 of our FBI's here." And he just hollered at her. Don't bother me. That one one paper She asked for a search warrant, and she asked if anybody gave them permission to go there and do that. They don't have anything. They said they don't have to have warrant, you know, papers or anything like that. Could do what they
White House,
There's one on his, there's a search warrant on the way from the White House, wherever that is, but, you know, it didn't come in yet, but they could do what they like, you know. And their beds were all turned over, and boxes were, you know, what they have, and clothes they have in there. And their clothes they have up hanging in the closet were all full of bullet holes. And they shot at all the pictures, that Indian pictures that were hanging inside. Have Indian designs, and my brother's pictures and my cousin's pictures.
Not tear gas,
And the place was just, it's just what do you call it, tear gas, smoked.
3 rooms,
She said they just ruined her place, and everything was all shut up, even her washing machine and everything else. She was asking them, but that's when she said she wanted to get after her, and they told her to stay out of the way, and they told her to get the hell out of there. And so she's asked them why they're doing that, you know, but they wouldn't tell her.
Respect Gold Star mother,
and so pretty soon she said, well, I'm a Gold Star mother. If you want to kill me, if that's the way you want to do it, well, why don't you kill me here? Because you killed one of us here anyway. You don't like us Indians, why don't you kill me too? This is my home, you ruined it anyway.
And I'm willing to die.
On June 26, 1975, 3 people were killed. Joe Stuntz, an Indian man, was shot between the eyes by the government forces, and 2 FBI agents, Kohler and Williams, were killed the same day. Kohler and Williams were 2 John Wayne type of agents who went barreling into a section of the reservation that they had had under surveillance, which they knew wouldn't particularly be hospitable to invading white law enforcement personnel who were fully armed and there to do them a great deal of harm. They came in shooting. There are stories that they were chasing what they believed to be some kind of fugitive in a van. And when they rolled through this Indian community shooting and blasting the place up, the people in the community believed that they were under attack, and they returned the fire. Now, when Kohler was killed, he was carrying a number of maps and sort of counterinsurgency materials that the Bureau had provided him with. They included one set of maps which had that particular portion of the reservation marked off and mapped out by building, having a number for each home and residence on that section of the reservation, keyed to a list of which families owned or lived in each one of those buildings. Another larger map, Bureau of Indian Affairs map of the reservation that Kohler had, very interestingly had misinformation on it, which the Bureau must have provided Agent Kohler. He had 2 sections of the reservation, Evergreen Housing and the Jumping Bull residence, circled. These are areas that AIM and the traditional people have a great deal of self-determination. And the part of the map that was circled at Jumping Bulls, he had the words bunkers and I believe trenches written, as well as the name of one of the AIM people who lived in the area. This was the kind of information that the press also put out, that there were bunkers and trenches and what have you, and it was a military type operation by the Indians used for an ambush, when in fact no such things ever existed. It was brought out at trial that these were root cellars and things of that nature, but just the idea that the agents would have totally wrong information which would make them feel that their safety was in jeopardy, would cause them to be trigger happy, would cause them to go into a portion of the reservation shooting, overcompensating for their fear, and in fact causing their own deaths by being so cautious and overcautious as starting the firefight.
In August of '75, not long after I moved down here, the FBI came here
They had told other people that they really wanted to find Annie Mae Aquash, that they knew she had information about the June 26th incident. Why they thought that, nobody knew. She wasn't even in Oglala on June the 26th. So when she saw them pull in, she was afraid they would just come barging into the house, because that was the way they acted around here. So she crawled up. There's a tiny area, crawl space, between the ceiling and the roof. And she crawled up inside there. It was really hot, and even hotter up there. So she came down, and two friends of ours went out and got a car, and they drove right up here in front of the house. And the one on the, not the driver's side, but the other side, jumped out. She jumped in the middle. He jumped in, they slammed the door and just drove right out through the FBI agents. And they never knew that they just missed seeing her.
The same day as the Jumping Bull shootout, Tribal Chairman Dick Wilson was in Washington, D.C. in secret negotiations for the Sheep Mountain area. He signed over 1/8 of the tribal land, including mineral rights, to the National Park Service of the Department of the Interior. A BIA report showed the area was high in uranium. Natural resources on Indian land was a bigger issue than any of us realized at the time. That summer after the shootout, FBI's were all over the Pine Ridge Reservation, searching for the killers of the two agents. People who'd been capped at Jumping Bulls gathered at Crow Dog's Paradise. I was there too.
1975, when she was in jail. She'd been arrested the day before on what I would categorize as a military-type raid on the Rosebud Reservation, particularly the area known as Crow Dog's Paradise and the running property. The FBI came in with about 100 men dressed in combat gear with automatic weapons, being covered, protected from the air by 4 Army attack helicopters with heavy automatic weapons mounted on them, and using the pretext of arrest warrants for a relatively minor incident, staged this raid on these properties.
United States Marshal, FBI, everybody freeze. There's Crow Dog in here. So I said, I have a switch. When I turn that switch on, the whole yard lights all over my place is all lit. To turn that on, I got up, and I seen the FBI, United States Marshal, surrounding me inside. He said, empty your pockets. Put your hands on your head and empty your pockets. He said, I was wearing my shorts, and I didn't wear no pants. So what did he mean, empty my pockets? If I made a move and pick my pants and empty my pockets, I will be assaulting and defend myself, and I will be killed there. But I do believe, so I didn't. I said, hey, I didn't wear my pants.
I have a 3-year-old son. His name's Pedro. He's born inside Wounded Knee. He was sleeping on a bed, and the FBI said, is that kid that was born inside Wounded Knee? And they threw him across the room, him out of his sound sleep. They threw food and clothing all together on the floor. They looking in my commodities, the government commodities. They go ahead, take them back. I said, you see what's in front of you, how you treat us. That's what you make us live on. I said, take it back when you go. Take it with you.
When they took me out, the woman camp at Crow Dog's Paradise, and everybody was handcuffed under the shade, under the arbor. And about 40 FBI United States Marshals with M16 and shotguns pointing at their head. And some of those little kids, they don't wear their clothes, just Pampers. So I told him, at least you could give him a blanket. I said, just shut up, you're under arrest. You're under custody of the FBI United States Marshals. When they take me back towards the pier, they stop 2 times. Can you outrun the M16, Crow Dog? You'll be a free man. I said, no, I couldn't outrun the M16.
Annie Mae is a strong woman. Anybody's sick, she's going to go over and help them. If anybody's hungry, she's going to go over there and feed them. And if anybody needs something, she's